Good afternoon, everybody. It's Chris Sanders here from London. Yes, I'm having a wonderful time in lovely London. London, who has congestion pricing, I might add. And they voted for their mayor a third time because he said he wanted to expand congestion pricing further out. They call it ULEZ here. So this is a ultra low emission zone. They want to expand it. He got elected for a third time. They said he wasn't going to get elected. He was in danger of not getting reelected. And then they elected him for a record third time after he proposed expanding the ultra low emission zone. ULEZ is the British term for congestion pricing. So, meanwhile, Kathy Hochul not being boxed into I don't know what, listening to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. I don't know why you're listening to those people. They don't have their finger on the pulse. You just saw the election in the UK where the people predicted all the doom and gloom, and then he outperformed even his best poll numbers, proposing ultra low emission zone. People don't know this, but congestion pricing for New York City would make it easier for emergency vehicles to get through, easier for people with disabilities to get through the city, to maneuver the city, easier for people walking, biking. It would improve public transportation. It would improve services to those with disabilities so that they can also have an easier time using public transportation. I mean, and and to top it all off, Governor Hochul thinks we're all stupid, just like those black kids she called stupid, those black kids in the Bronx she called stupid. She called them stupid. She said they were too stupid to know what a computer is. She said, oh, there are black people in the Bronx. They don't even know what a computer is. I'm like, girl. So in any case, she thinks we're all stupid. And she said that she wants to propose an additional business tax instead to help finance the public transportation, to help finance buses and subway service. The problem with that is that number one, everybody has to pay it in the whole state, even if you, everybody has to pay it in the whole state. That means everybody has to pay it. That means the poor, the rich, everybody in between. Additionally, in New York City, the poor already ride public transportation. The average person that drives into New York City or drives within New York City makes about, I don't know, 40 or 50% more than the rest of New Yorkers, New York City people. I'm like, what is she doing? This is totally bad politics. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, if they're the ones advising her, gave her bad advice. They gave her bad advice. As with healthcare, remember when Obama was struggling to pass healthcare because allegedly it was unpopular, but then once it got implemented, it became popular, and that's what got Democrats reelected in 2018. Everybody said, oh, Trump this, Trump that, and then Democrats trounced in 2018. Trump tried to repeal it, but it was so popular, even with conservatives, that they couldn't undo it. And the same thing happened with congestion pricing in London and Sweden and every place that congestion pricing has been tried. After it's implemented, it's popular, and people get reelected off of congestion pricing because it improves the quality of life for everyone. Improves air quality, improves their mood, improves public transportation. People are happy to take public transit when it's clean and fast and safe and works on time, every time. I'm like, girl, y'all tell me that, tell me what you think, but what I think is that she's a coward. She's a political coward. And this is the reason why she struggled in 2022. She got lower than the normal number of votes for two reasons: Democratic Party mismanagement of the election. They didn't even know that George Soros was a lie. They didn't even know that George Soros doesn't exist. He's a lie. Everything about his background was a lie. They didn't know that. And they didn't even think to do the research on it. That is like election malpractice. And and then they, like, I don't know what they were doing, but like Kathy Hochul is not a good campaigner. And I was hoping that she would be good at governing. When I voted for her, I did vote for her in 2022 because I was like, well, she's at least good on these, transportation, urbanism type issues. Turns out she's not even good at that. She she turned her back. She proposed an affordable housing program when she was trying to get elected, and she was trying to push it through the New York State legislature. She cut the affordability out of the affordable housing program before she passed it. I tell you, you cannot make this up. Kathy Hochul cut the affordability out of her own affordability program for housing. I'm like, girl, I should have known right then that, we are in trouble. So now, then she called black kids stupid. And by that, she's calling their parents stupid because who's raising black kids? Parents. And she's calling all the teachers who are teaching black kids, she's saying they aren't doing a good job or that they're stupid too. And now we fast forward to congestion pricing. And here we have this woman, like going against what she previously said herself. She previously said herself, look, there's going to be a lot of benefits for this. It's going to finance the public transportation in New York. It's going to expand the subway, all that. It's going to clean up the air for the citizens. New York has some of the worst air quality because everybody from New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Connecticut and all around New York State and New York City wants to drive through, but they live in their protected cul-de-sac suburb, wasting government resources. We all know that from a government perspective, suburbs are not entirely sustainable if they are not built responsibly. If they're built with sprawl, they are not financially sustainable. In any case, you don't have people driving through there, but they want to drive through all through the people who live and work in New York City. And to that, I'm like, oh, hell no. And look, I'm already not too thrilled about Joe Biden's performance. Yes, he did get some legislation through, but I'm already not too thrilled about him. And now you want to stab me in the eye? Girl, you're going to... Look, I'm looking downstream like, who am I going to vote against? Also, other than Joe Biden, who who else am I going to vote against? Look, I don't care. Like, I will vote against people. Literally, I'll definitely vote, but I will vote against people. And because I'm tired of Democrats saying they're going to do it, and then they don't do it. And look at Obama, healthcare. He did it, even though he got dragged through the mud in the New York Times and all these publications, Fox News, all the corporate and right-wing media, business interests screaming, holy hell. And then the world did. And then once healthcare got implemented, the world didn't end like they all predicted. The world did not end. And now you can't even get rid of it if you tried. Donald Trump tried several times, couldn't do it. couldn't do it. He said he was going to put up a different program. He didn't even do that. He didn't even try to do that. Like, had he put up something better, then yeah, sure. Maybe he would have had Trump Care, but he didn't. Trump Care failed because it was worse, much worse. And congestion pricing was a good program by good meaning Democrats. I'm like, why are you pissed? Like, Kathy Hochul got elected off the strength of her climate and transportation policies and her general urbanism leaning policies. And now she went back on housing. She went back on congestion pricing. She went back on the environment. She turned her back on the environment. Yes, she did. And she hasn't even look. I'm willing to, like, if she can reverse herself again, I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt that maybe she was feeling the heat because Chuck Schumer and some of these other out of touch Democrats. Oh, and I like Chuck Schumer, by the way, but I think he's just wrong on this one, and also the Israel thing. But we won't talk about that. But whatever. I like Chuck Schumer. He's one of my favorite people in the government, in the federal government. So I'm like so disappointed to hear that he might be involved. And Hakeem Jeffries, yeah, he's from Brooklyn. I'm gonna make sure that he struggles in this next election. We need to make sure that he struggles. Maybe if it's not in this election, it might be too late. But yeah, he'll need to get reelected in 2 years from now. In an off-year election with low turnout voting, with a lot of urbanist voting going on in New York City. Yeah. So I hope for their sake they're not involved, but I would prefer if Kathy Hochul and Democrats just stuck to their guns and push this through. Look, sometimes you got to be a leader on things and you got to push this through. The responsible thing to do is implement the program. Since you already installed all the cameras, spent millions of dollars in research and studies and advocacy and everything, maybe even billions of dollars, you might as well try it out to see if it's going to work or not. If it doesn't work, you can change it. Come back in 5 years and be like, oh, okay, this program didn't work that great. Let's readjust it. You can lower the fee or raise the fee or try some other methods to, in addition to generate the money that's needed to allow the subway and bus system to run properly in New York City, and also allow the emergency vehicles, the disability people to have full access to priority access to the streets and the roads, and New Yorkers should already be the priority for clean air, all that, environmentally sound, responsible. Look, let me know what you guys think, because I'm really hot and angry on this. Like, New York is supposed to be the leader, and then they're not doing it. They're supposed to be the leader for the United States, and then Kathy Hochul is failing, not doing a good job. Look, I understand it's controversial and all that. I got it, but you got to do it anyway. You got to do it anyway. Get some feedback, get some data. Let's see what's going to happen. Like, you'll always have an endless parade of people predicting doom and gloom. And while there'll be some bad things, there'll be mostly good things coming out of it. But we got to know what they are so we can understand what they are and how to mitigate them. But we can't even do that. We are just flying blind. Like, this is not the way to govern. And that is going to be the problem that I have with Democrats. Like, when Republicans, even if their idea isn't popular, they implement it or try to implement it and then see how unpopular it is, and then they adjust. Democrats, they cave before they even do the policy. They compromise with themselves. They keep compromising with themselves. I'm like, why are you're already going to take the heat? Look, the person who's voting for a Republican, who's decided that the Democrats aren't for them, voting for a Republican, guess what? You're in the downstream elections in New York State, you already lost them. You can't get them back. Like, but now you're like going after the people who are your most devoted and ardent supporters. And like, girl, I don't know. I just look, honey, I don't know. Like, I mean, I would look at my channel. I was praising her all the time, every other week, Kathy Hochul. And now I can't praise her. Now I have to be like opposed to her and to her government, like her governing style. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Where you compromise with yourself, you give yourself kickbacks in your Buffalo Bills stadium, $800 million, almost $1 billion. You cut affordable housing, you cutting clean air. Honey, I just don't know. I just don't know if this is working out. Maybe, look, people had a lot of problems with Cuomo, but at least he had the balls to stick with his bold policies. Like, they were bold, sometimes unpopular. But when, he got it passed in 2019, and I get it, there's a reflexive energy to undo everything Cuomo did. But he did some things right. And congestion pricing was one of them. He recognized that it's the responsible thing to do, and that's why he and the government of New York State, the Assembly, the Senate, all that, they passed it because, look, in Harlem, the air is not clean. In the Bronx, the air is not clean. In Manhattan, in general, the air is not clean. In fact, the community board number 3 in Manhattan is one of the worst in the country. Meanwhile, only 1.5 to 2%, and that is if we're being generous, of all commuters commute by car. 1.5% of the people taking up most of the space. 1.5% of the commuting traffic taking up most of the New York City space on the street. I find that like utterly ridiculous. You should be prioritizing the walking and the biking, the stuff that is cheaper to maintain cheaper to maintain. And you know what? In an already high cost of living environment, forcing people into a $30,000 investment with a vehicle, I don't know if that's the best. I don't know if that's, I do know it's not the best. It's not good. It's not good trying to force people into a $30,000 loan or a $50,000 loan, whatever your car costs, $1,000 a month. Every month, that's what a car costs now. And, and Kathy Hochul thinks that, the couple times a year they decide to drive into the congestion zone that people are going to be really studying that. No, they aren't. They're complaining now. They'll get over it. And they'll adjust their patterns. But you didn't give them a chance. She didn't even give them a chance. She didn't get any data she didn't get any data to back up whatever she's talking about. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna stick it to New Yorkers when they're buying groceries, and when they're buying. I'm gonna stick it to New Yorkers when they're buying things they need, clothes and food and housing, with a business tax." Well, guess where business taxes go? That stuff rolls right downhill to you and I, the regular New Yorker. That's what it does. It rolls right down to us. I mean, the politics are so bad and so thorny, and it makes Kathy look like a coward, and it makes Democrats look like cowards. And I would argue that more than like conservative policies. I don't think most Republicans even care about conservative policies. They care about people who are going to stand for something and stick behind it. And and clearly, Democrats are not that. They're going to cave. In the future, we all need to vote for Democrats who are going to propose bold, progressive policies and stick to those policies and see them through. We need, like Obama was seeing healthcare through, we need Democrats who are going to see bold, progressive policies through, like affordable housing, good public transportation, world-class public transportation, bike and pedestrian infrastructure, like look, and better living conditions for New York. I mean, I am just utterly gutted and totally disappointed, and I'm like, girl, I think it's in all of our best interests if you reverse, so I can try to start healing from what you just announced. And look, even the board members, MTA board members, the governor appoints the board members, even they are like coming out and saying, we didn't agree with this. We don't agree with this. We are shocked and flabbergasted. And the contractors who build up the subway that everybody rides, who build up the infrastructure, they're like, oh, well, you just screwed us. You just cost us a lot of jobs and money that New York City was getting, New York State was getting. They had the jobs in New York State, in New York City, and now those jobs are going to be a lot less than they were previously with the congestion, because to maintain the subway and the buses and maintain all that infrastructure that you're going to be building up and maintaining, you know, you need an army of people to do it. And now with this, Kathy just cut that all off. And we've seen that the train and the public transportation in general is very vital to the New York economy, which is the biggest economy in the country. So like the New York City economy is the biggest economy in the country. And Hochul said, no, I don't want New York to be the biggest economy. I want them to struggle and be poor. And I think everybody should let her know how they feel about her efforts to keep you poor and struggling and desperate and totally dependent on the government. In any case, I'm just rambling now. But let me know what you think about Kathy Hochul blocking congestion pricing, or well, we don't even know if she has the legal authority to block congestion pricing, because that would mean I'm like, girl, you need to go back to the New York Assembly and you need to go back and get them to repeal their law. I can assure you they're probably not interested in that. And if they are, they should be very scared. I will say that. So it's not even clear that she even has the authority to not implement the congestion pricing program. But she's thinking she's going to stop it in its tracks anyway. And I hope everyone lets her know that this is not acceptable. And we are not going to accept this. And we're letting you know that we wanted this. Like, this is supposed to be a model for the country. When you're being a leader, when you're a city like New York and you're the leader of the United States, you have to lead. Even when it's difficult, you have to lead. All right. Have a nice day. Take care. And let Kathy know, let Chuck Schumer know, let all those highfalutin Democrats know how you feel about Kathy Hochul, cowardly Kathy, canceling congestion pricing.